the survival genre of games has not been at its finest as of late. Cheap rip-offs and asset flips have flooded the marketplace, and the more ambitious titles that were once riding the survival game hype train now remain in early access purgatory with no signs of escaping. Fortunately, the team at Unknown Worlds Entertainment never gave up hope and decided to stick it out, working passionately and with dedication. For 3 years, they plugged away in early access, all leading up to now. Finally, in 2018, their masterpiece is complete with the big and exciting 1.0 release of Subnautica. The premise of Subnautica is a simple one. After surviving a catastrophic crash landing, you find yourself barely alive in the middle of an oceanic alien planet. A seemingly endless ocean surrounds you and your life pod. With no obvious objective or waypoint, there is only one task that is clear and innate, and that is to survive. At its core, Subnautica is a survival exploration game, which means there are a ton of systems you have to manage and be aware of at all times. Par for the course are the hunger and thirst meters present in many survival games, but beyond those are the oxygen meter, the current depth, the temperature, radiation levels, battery charge for various electronic tools, and that doesn't even cover the base building side of things. Games like Minecraft or DayZ use these kind of systems as obstacles, causing slight, frustrating delays to the core gameplay, increasing anxiety in the player, and hindering the overall experience. In Subnautica, they do no such thing. In Subnautica, these systems don't impede the rest of the gameplay, they drive it. In Minecraft, the consequence of a broken pickaxe is a nuisance. Just craft another and get back to what you were doing. Subnautica, however, uses scenarios like the broken pickaxe to build upon its gameplay. For example, the always depleting oxygen meter implores you to prepare, go out, explore, obtain a blueprint for a better, larger oxygen tank, find the materials to craft it, and then craft it. The survival elements are not there to stop you from playing, but to enable you to play more. The majority of the gameplay in Subnautica is centered around one thing: exploration. The environment is huge and sprawling, and there is plenty to be found within its depths. Pieces of the Aurora, the crashed colony ship, lay on the ocean floor, ripe with equipment, supplies, and data logs that can come in handy during survival. The ocean is full of life, dense with alien organisms, thriving in their various ecosystems. Everywhere you look, there is so much to be found in these watery depths that exploring them never gets old. Being able to explore further, deeper, and longer is Subnautica's form of progress, although nowhere is this explicitly explained. Self-direction and self-motivation are key traits to have when playing Subnautica, as it does very little handholding. However, that is not to say Subnautica is totally without structure. On occasion, your life pod will receive distress calls from other life pods in the surrounding area. A location is added to your PDA, and you must go reach it to look for survivors. These calls are meant to get the player out of their comfort zone and explore beyond where they have already been, giving little teases to what the game has to offer. Each location is further and deeper than the last, usually requiring new equipment and upgrades to reach them. The calls come less and less frequently until they completely stop, but by this point the player has been thoroughly trained and is ready to make their own objectives without the guiding distress calls. While the distress calls are Subnautica's closest thing to narrative missions, the game has a surprising amount of narrative depth and lore. And like with everything else in Subnautica, its narrative is also driven by exploration. Every piece of equipment, item, creature, and plant that you find has its own detailed, lengthy description that can be found in your PDA. There are also abandoned PDAs found in wrecks and abandoned bases that usually contain useful or interesting information regarding the situation that occurred there. Scouring the flaming wreck of the Aurora for these types of PDAs can net you detailed information about where the Aurora was meant to go, how it malfunctioned, and the personal lives of its inhabitants. Unfortunately, most of this information is hidden behind massive walls of text in your PDA. There are some audio logs with exceptional voice acting to break up the pacing, but if you want to know everything there is to know in Subnautica, be prepared to spend most of your time reading. In the end, the ultimate reward for all of this exploration is the absolutely beautiful and terrifying world that Unknown Worlds Entertainment has created. There is a staggering amount of variety in each environment and innumerable unique creatures around every corner. Sunny, vibrant coral reefs, dense kelp forests, pitch black caverns, They all emit their own special feeling while always maintaining an atmospheric consistency. Along with variety, the world sense of scale is another thing Subnautica manages to capture so perfectly. The hulking fauna swimming by in the ocean's vastness, the monumental crashed aurora, and the breathtaking sprawling ecosystems always left me feeling so small and in wonder, even when seeing them for the 20th time. LOD pop-in and terrain streaming slowdown do appear from time to time, smearing the beauty of this world, but these issues are not big enough, nor common enough to really impact the work that has been done here. Unknown Worlds Entertainment really did a tremendous job in realizing a world that blends realistic underwater environments with nightmarish sci-fi landscapes. Picture BBC's Blue Planet meets Lovecraft, just without David Attenborough. During your expeditions out in the wondrous ocean, one thing becomes abundantly clear very quickly. Subnautica is truly terrifying. This is terror that recalls movies like The Shining and Alien, or games like Amnesia: The Dark Descent and Resident Evil 7. The loneliness, the darkness, the ghostly environments, depleting oxygen, hunger, and thirst meters all add up to make Subnautica scary. Above all else, however, it's the tremendous sound design that got my heart pumping every time. All of the ambient sounds in Subnautica are top-notch, from the bubbly release of breath to the deep bellowing calls of giant beasts. Everything fits into the soundscape perfectly. When exploring pitch black caves where you can't see a damn thing, strange otherworldly sounds of unknown entities can be heard sporadically nearby. The feeling of being trapped alone in a cave, 700 meters below sea level, surrounded by unknown predators, isn't my idea of a peaceful swim. Combined with the outstanding music composed by Simon Chilinsky, there is a richness in sound here that certainly can make you terrified, but also touches on a whole range of emotions and always sounds magnificent. After a long expedition to the deepest and darkest caverns, one of the best and most relieving feelings comes from making it back to your base in one piece. At first, all you have is a claustrophobic lifeblock, but eventually you obtain the equipment and knowledge to construct an entire base of operations. Here you have the freedom to construct and customize your base however you see fit, but there are some restrictions, often obtuse, that limit the wilder ideas you might have. On a similar note, most of Subnautica's base building is not very streamlined. To simply move a structure from one location to another can be immensely frustrating and disheartening. You must first completely empty the room of all objects, keeping in mind your limited inventory space, then deconstruct the interior of the structure. After that, you can finally tear down the old structure and rebuild it where you'd like. Then you must rebuild the interior modules in your newly built structure, and then move in all the objects that were stored there in the first place. The trick here is to plan ahead, because once you've started a base, the hassle of redesigning it is completely aggravating. However, once I understood the game's base building rules, creating the sci-fi underwater home of my dreams led to some of the most relaxing and enjoyable gameplay I've had for quite some time. The base is more than just a safe place to rest, however. It houses one of Subnautica's more complex systems, the crafting. Your base is where all of your hard work pays off in a physical form. The new and improved Flipper blueprint you obtained while exploring, this is where you return to make them reality. The crafting in Subnautica is a rather straightforward endeavor, yet also rather robust. The fabricator allows you to combine materials in your inventory using already known blueprints, so there aren't any random combinations of items you need to remember. Simple items such as copper wire are made of one or two basic materials, while complex items such as the sea moth may require you to craft many simpler items to get to the final product. While this system doesn't require a lot of thought to accomplish, crafting an item you've invested so much time and work into is one of Subnautica's most satisfying moments.
All systems online.
For a game that spent 3 years in early access, it's amazing that Subnautica released in a state as clean and clear as it did. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. Subnautica is a wondrous game filled with mystery, intrigue, and terror. Its beautiful world is awe-inspiring, and its rich exploration distills the essence of adventure. While a few minor blemishes can get in the way, the refreshing and accessible gameplay overcomes these obstacles with ease and provides an infatuating, flow-inducing experience that will only leave my mind alone once I jump back in.